Welcome back to Brothers Talking Sports. It is defensive lineman / edge rusher preview. We got a lot of first-round guys to talk about today. Shay, how we doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of edge rushers in this draft. Almost all these guys, maybe except for one, will probably go in the first round.
We think that, but again, you never know kind of how it ends up falling. But definitely a heavy defensive line draft.
Yes.
This one there's probably 10 guys who could go in the first round just from the defensive line.
I mean, all these guys were within the top 50, probably top 45.
Prospects, yeah.
Yeah, most of them, maybe except for one of them, but outside of that, we didn't even get everybody. Like, there's still guys we still didn't even get to. Jack
Sawyer
we didn't
from
get
Ohio
to.
State, and then Nick, I always forget his last name.
From Texas A&M. We didn't get to him either. So there's a couple guys we weren't able to get through when you have freaking, 10 to 12 defensive linemen are supposed to go in the first round. It's hard to get to everybody, but these are some of the guys that will.
Either all of them might go plus more, or only 6 or 7 of them end up going, and then guys get pushed off the second round. It's kind of what happened last year with defensive linemen. Usually it's a lot higher. Defensive linemen get picked more easily because it's harder to miss on a D lineman, I think, than like a.
Well, I also think it's a more need position. It's like the second. It might be the second most important position outside of quarterback.
It's definitely a lot of teams will draft especially I know the Packers offensive line, defensive line. A lot of times teams just kind of focus on drafting those positions in the first round because they know it's the most needed. You have a lot of them on the field at one time, so it's better chance of finding someone that's probably going to be decent, better off for you instead of taking a receiver or a corner and they suck and then you just wasted a pick basically.
Yeah, most certainly. All right,
they could be good. Defensive linemen could be good at one thing you could play on the field. If they can't rush the passer, if they can stop the run, well then maybe they can be on the field. If they can rush the passer, they have third down needs. So
yeah,
always spots on the field for them.
All right, let's kick it off with the first guy. We're not going to go in any order. This is just a random order I kind of brought up. So no order of best to worst. I have my rankings at the end because I did most of these reviews, so most of these reports. So let's kick it off with the first guy, Walter Nolen, 6'3", 305, 6 sacks, 4 hits, 25 hurries, 48 tackles. He's out of Ole Miss. When I watched this kid, I had a couple. He was one of the interesting ones in the interior defensive lineman. It may what says 6'3", 305. I wonder if that's his actual weight, because he seems so. Some of the strengths I have is he's really good. He's got really good speed. He's got really good strength at the edge, I think. Lateral movement and can push back offensive tackle. So he's got definitely some power. But I watch him, and I'm like, yeah, you're a combination of an edge rusher and an interior defensive lineman. And I put that down there. Too slow to be an edge rusher, but too small, it looks like, to be an interior defensive lineman. So that's my worry with Walter Nolen. I think he does have some power. If he's smaller, I think I would probably move him to the outside. They ran a lot of stunts at Ole Miss, so he was rushing a lot, sometimes even off the edge, and they would do a lot of twists and stuff. So Walter Nolen is an interesting player, has definitely good strength against tackles and can definitely bull rush tackles 110%. But when it comes to interior defensive lineman, he could definitely struggle. Jay, do you have anything on Walter Nolen or no?
I don't know too much about him. This was one of the guys in the player comparison. Levi Onwuzurike.
Yes.
He's a D tackle for the Lions.
He is.
Yeah.
He's defense tackle for the Lions.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. There was him and there's another guy who plays for the Falcons or something like that. I wasn't really sure who they were.
Yes.
I don't know too much about this guy, but I do think there's a common trend with this draft. There's a lot of undersized guys in this draft, but I guess that's kind of what happens a lot in college, because you'll see we get to a couple more people that are big thing is they're a little undersized or a little this is whatnot.
There's one guy that's definitely not, but we'll get to him.
But no, I mean, like you said, is he going to be if he puts on some weight, will he play D tackle? Will he?
Yeah, I want to know what his official measurements at the combine is, because that determines a lot.
If you weigh over 300, I assume this guy's going to be playing more on the inside. My guess, honestly, with him is maybe he's a guy who plays in a. You all right?
I just choked on water.
My guess is maybe he's a guy who plays more in like a 3-4, and he plays one of those not like the nose tackle. He's one of those DNs. He's not the guy. He's not the.
He's not head up over the center
off the edge, but he's the D end kicked inside a bit more.
Yeah.
Instead of maybe a 4-3 player who plays on the edge, maybe he's more of a 3-4 guy playing in that kind of right where it'd be in between like the guard and the tackle kind of spot he's playing. That's might be my guess for more of a.
The number I always look at for stats or anything is hurries. Hurries usually give me a good explanation of how productive you were as a pass rusher, because you'll see some guys in here that are very low in the hurry rate, and then some of the guys have a very high hurry rate. So Walter Nolen, out of all the defensive linemen, I think I ranked him like third or fourth when we get to the end. Out of the
all the defense or D tackles?
D tackles on here.
Okay, that makes sense. I would probably guess he's about that.
The two Michigan kids are better than him.
Yeah, but that makes sense. No, but I mean, with a guy like this, you look at like maybe 6 sacks, 4 hits. That's not a lot, but again, he's more of an interior player. His sack numbers aren't meant to be off the board. Again, 48 tackles.
He probably would have had less if they ran less stunts.
Yeah, he's more of an in the run game guy. Like he's gonna stop in the run. He's more of an inside player. This guy, you're not expecting him to put up 10 sacks. You want him to go in there, stop the run, and create a bit of pressure just to cause the quarterback to have to get outside the pocket or step up or do something. That's what you're looking at of a guy like this.
All right, let's move on here to Mike Green, one of my favorite edge rushers out of Marshall. 17 sacks. He led the nation in sacks. 10 hits, 32 hurries, 81 tackles. 6'4", 248. His strengths, he's fast and really fast. I mean, he's bending. He can bend the edge at just about anybody. He could do it at an NFL level. He definitely has NFL level speed. He put the nastiest spin move on the Ohio State tackle when they played Ohio State. Really good swim move. Like, doesn't give up on plays. He makes tight ends look silly. You know, a lot of times I watched on film where tight ends came down. He blew up plays just by blowing up the tight end. And my weaknesses for him were, I think he's an average run defender at the moment, but I also didn't see a lot of that on film, so it's tough to watch run defense, but I think he's an average run defender. Lack of power in the passing game. You know, I put that down, and then about like 2 days later at the combine, he puts a first-round offensive tackle into Mars on his ass. So
at the Senior Bowl?
Yeah, at the Senior Bowl.
Well, I think it's a guy who's, I mean, yeah, he uses...
let me pull this up.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, hold on.
I think Mike Green might be similar to a guy later on we're going to see in James Pierce, just a little bit different in the fact that they're fast and they're not they're not the strongest players, but they're fast and they use that speed to create power because they're so quick off the ball. They catch guys off guard and they hit you at the right time.
All right, so he absolutely obliterated.
Yeah, I think he gets off the ball so quick, and he just you catch the tackle kind of not in like ready as he could be, and not in his stance lowered enough to be able to kind of take on the impact, and he runs right through him. Yeah,
so mine was Kwity Paye. I think he's probably a little less stronger than Kwity Paye, but a little bit faster than Kwity Paye. That's a comparison, but again, they're very similar in types of. In terms of that. And the one thing everybody talks about is, well, he came from Marshall. How good is he going to do? Well, he went up against an offensive guard, an offensive tackle at the Senior Bowl and whooped his ass. So I think he'll be fine up against better competition. He's a guy I really liked on film, was one of the guys I just thought, I think he stood out to me more than any other edge rusher when I watched the film, right? I think he was a guy that just stood out to me more than any other edge rusher outside of Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter's insane, but we'll get to Abdul Carter in a minute. All right, we move on here.
He's a guy, I just want to say, he's a guy that this is probably the big hit or miss of the draft, where this guy could be really, really good, but he also might just not be able to compete at the NFL level against NFL.
Oh, I don't think that. I think there's another guy.
It's a guy like you could compare it to, and it's a little different because he's an edge rusher compared to someone like, if you look at Quinion Mitchell last year coming out of Toledo, I think it was Toledo he went to. Yeah. Smaller school, not the best competition. Again, it's corner. It's a little different. I think there's one this year coming out of East Carolina that's supposed to be really good, where you always have those questions with the guys that play at smaller schools because it's like, well, they didn't play the best competition. How really good are they? This is a guy that, like, if he goes up against like NFL tackles, there's a chance he's just, I mean, his speed is just like everyone else's speed, and he's just not strong enough to get there. Or he is just as good as he was in college, and he just becomes a really, really good edge rusher.
I'm not worried about it. I really think that this kid is special. I watched him when he played Ohio State. He whooped some of the Ohio State's right tackle. And I also watched him play in the Senior Bowl and when he went up against some of the best players. So
I mean, his worst case is he becomes like a third down specialist. He's really on the field only on third downs, and his job is just to use his speed and go get the quarterback. There will be a spot for him on the field. That's the one good thing about, again, defensive linemen. You just keep rotating those guys in. You have so many guys. You might have 5 or 6 pass rushers. He's just the special guy on third down that you throw out there because he's fast. He's going to get the quarterback. Teams won't run the ball when he's out. You don't want teams running the ball when he's out there because you know he's not good in the run game.
248's a little light.
Yeah, he's on the smaller side, but he's so fast and he's so good at getting to the quarterback. You're just like, all right, third down, third and long, go out there, get to the quarterback in time.
Yep. All right, let's move on here to James Pierce. Shay, let's talk about James Pierce.
So 6'5", 243. I don't know if a lot of people remember before this season started. This was probably he was, I think, projected to be the number 1 pick in the draft in 2025. A lot of people liked him because of how he looked before this season, and he didn't have his best season. I mean, he had a solid year, but not as good as and obviously a lot of other guys like Mike Green and Abdul Carter just had way better years. So obviously not as good, but I think still this guy's still a very good player. So I wrote down for his strength, he's super explosive. He's just like Mike Green, gets off the ball, he's fast, he gets red, and he's explosive. He generates power from his speed despite his lack of size. Again, he's only 243 like Mike Green is. He's a bit smaller, but he's so fast off the ball that he pushes tackles back because he's so quick that they're not even ready to react in time to get in themselves. Tackles sometimes can't lower themselves down, get ready to kind of embrace the hit. He gets them so quick, pushes them back. He's unlike Mike Green. He's solid in the run game. I mean, he holds his ground and he makes tackles. He can engage. He can get his hands up free, and he can make plays in the run game. That's the one thing I like about him better than Mike Green is because he's a lot better in the run game. Way too quick for tight ends. I mean, again, I don't know why teams try and block tight ends. He's small, but tight ends can't block. Like this one guy, he's just way too quick for tight ends. You see things of him in college. He was just tight ends couldn't block him, no chance. Uses his length well to get around blocks. He's got he's got pretty long arms. And he kind of does a good job of he's good with his body, keeps his distance, and uses that speed to just sneak by tackles. And he also had flashes of a good inside spin when he kind of, as a counter move, when D tackles would keep up with his speed, he'd be able to take control of the inside. And he did a pretty good job of it. Some of his weaknesses, he needs to put on some mass to transition to the pros. Obviously, 243. We said the same thing about Mike Green. I think he's a little light at 243.
Especially 6'5".
Yeah, he's tall. He's got long arms, and I think he's just kind of a little bit small on the smaller side.
He's a lengthy dude.
Yeah.
He's a lengthy dude.
Player comparison, I put Chop Robinson. Another one I wanted to put was Brian Burns because Brian Burns is a lanky dude too. I wanted to go with him. I went with Chop Robinson instead because speed. I said struggles to break with breaking down, letting sacks get away from him, and that's probably why his numbers weren't so high sack-wise. He's so fast. He gets in the backfield so quick, but he struggles with kind of slowing his body down to get, and the quarterback just kind of makes one move on him and he's gone. He can get knocked off track easily. Again, that has to do with his weight. He's a smaller guy, so if a tackle gets a good shot on him, it's going to cause him to either kind of get pushed out and the quarterback gets step up, or if he tries to go inside, he gets pushed away and the quarterback rolls out. Doesn't have the strength to get off the block once he's engaged. Once a guy's kind of into him, again, he's a smaller, not the strongest guy. If a tackle gets his hands on him, he's got a tough time. He's basically washed at that point. So, yeah. But I think this is a very, very good player, James Pierce. I think I'd personally have him as probably my second best pass rusher in the draft. I'd probably have him ahead of Mike Green, but again, I know you really like Mike Green and his speed. I think this guy overall is an overall better player because, again, he plays the run well. He can rush the quarterback. He's got to put on some weight and strength, but if he does that, he'll be a good NFL player. Yeah, so I know James Pierce had less sacks this year than he did last year, but the thing was he had a lot more hurries this year, so he was definitely still very productive compared to last year. I think that's why his numbers are down this year, so I think that's why a lot of teams are down on probably James Pierce compared to some other teams. And again, you probably look at this guy, I mean, he probably has one of the higher double team rates because, again, he had good numbers last year. Coming into this year, everyone's like, oh, this is a stud. We have to keep an eye on this guy. Happens a lot. Maybe gets chipped, little help just to make sure, he's so fast. We don't want him getting off the edge right away. But I think this guy is, again, I went Chop Robinson. I told you I could have got, I think Brian Burns was another one that I really liked for him, but it's just a guy who's fast and lanky off the edge. Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Donovan Izariki. I think I hope I'm pronouncing that right. 21 years old, 6'2", 247, 14 sacks, 20 hits, 26 hurries, 20 tackles. Good tackler. Finds the ball pretty quick. Good speed, not great. Good speed. Like a lot of the good stuff you'll see with Donovan, but I don't think there's a great player in Donovan. Like I said, good speed, not great. Good bend around the corner, not great. Has a great swim move. Uses his hands really well and does a nice extension in the run game, getting his hands extended, getting into those tackles. I didn't see him win at power at all. Anytime I watched him, a lot of his sacks were around the corner. Boston College had actually a pretty good defensive line, so he did a good job. But a lot of the sacks were, either coverage sacks or still getting to the quarterback, but they're just not as impressive as some of the other sacks I've seen. Worried off getting blocks in the run game because he's definitely a smaller edge rusher, 6'2", 247. If he's probably like 6'4", his height and weight definitely can, because that's probably about as big as he's gonna get. Maybe a little bit bigger, maybe 250, 255, but outside of that, he's not gonna get much better. Not the best motor when extended run plays, and could definitely be slow off the ball. I think I watched a lot of times like guys that are getting off the ball faster than him at Boston College. So, like I said, I think this guy's a good edge rusher, not the best. Probably the worst out of the group we examined today. But, yeah, you have anything on Donovan or no?
He's got a lot of sacks, not too many hurries. I mean, the sack to hurry ratio is obviously not a lot. I mean, 14 sacks is impressive, but again, doesn't seem like he was causing too much. This guy probably, if he gets drafted, he could get pushed to the second round. Maybe he's a late first round guy. Like you said, probably the worst guy we're going to look at today. There's a guy, Arnold Ebiketie is the
player
Falcons drafted a few years ago. I don't know too much about him actually, so I wouldn't be able to tell you the comparison wise. But yeah, again, I think a common trend, like you said, guys could just a little undersized, not like undersized, got to put on a little bit of weight, but I guess that's a lot of college guys transitioning to the pros.
Yeah, some of them.
On the smaller
yeah, a lot of my comps were height and weight based, so a lot of them height and weight and how they came out as a player and how they came out now. So I think he's probably close to where they came out. Maybe that's how he's going to be. He could be better or worse than Arnold. I'm not saying that he will be, but I'm saying in the sense of the fact of that's where he's probably going to be around. All right, let's move on here to Kenneth Grant. Ooh, I'm a big fan of Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant, 21 years old, 6'3", 339, 3 sacks, 1 hit, 23 hurries, 32 tackles. Jesus. Max, want to say hi on camera or no?
Just keep going. No one remembers.
Yeah, no one remembers who you don't even come here anymore. All right, so then get out of the shot. All right, Kenneth Grant, great speed and power in the run game. Great speed for an interior defense lineman. Excellent at... What? Good thing nobody could hear that. Excellent at getting into pass lanes. Had the most swatted balls as a defensive lineman. Struggles to get off double teams sometimes. Worried about him as a pass rusher. No speed move as interior rusher. And Devontae Wyatt is my player comp.
What's funny? Mason Graham, who also was the D tackle at Michigan's comp, was Devontae Wyatt. I didn't put it because I saw you put it, but I just thought it was funny that
he's closer. This guy's a run stopper. Like this is the best run stopper in the draft.
I don't know about that, dude.
I think he's better. This guy, I think, when it's all said and done, and I know this one's going to be shocking. He's going to be better than Mason Graham.
No, he's not. That guy, dude, he is unbelievably good, Mason Graham. Unbelievably good. Because not only is he's perfect in the run game, he's perfect in the run game. He is great to get the quarterback.
But I'm telling you, Kenneth Grant, he's a better run defender than Mason Graham. I think he is.
There's a couple guys in this draft that are no-brainers, have to draft, and Mason Graham is one of them. If he doesn't get drafted in the top 5, someone should trade up and get him because he is a D tackle. You're D tackle for 10 years, like the next 10.
John Harbaugh said this kid might be better than him.
Really?
He said that too.
I think
Joe Klatt said he might be the best out of all of them when it's all said and done.
I don't know. I think Mason Graham.
I think Kenneth Grant is a stud run really, like, that's his thing, is run stopping. If he can get he's a big dude, so it's hard to move him in the run game. He's 21 years old. He's going to be a force in the wrecking game. Devontae Wyatt is pretty close to his comp, I think, coming out. Like I said, he was my interior defense lineman number 2 in this class behind Mason Graham. I think Mason Graham is better, but I think Kenneth Grant at the end of Mason Graham is a more polished prospect than him, but I think at the end of the day, Kenneth Grant will have a better NFL career than Mason Graham. I know that's a little hot take, but I like it.
I think Mason Graham is going to be very good. I mean, there's talks of like the Browns picking him at number 2, and I think anybody would be okay with him going number 2. I mean, you could argue the guy could be the number 1 pick in the draft. I think he's that good.
Wow. All right, let's move on here. I don't know who's next. Abdul Carter is next. 21 years old, 6'3", 252, 13 sacks, 10 hits, 43 hurries.
Wow, Ezra, such a lame comparison.
68 tackles. Yeah, Ezra took the lame route. Took the easy way out.
Probably the most true. So,
very fast on the ball, vertical and lateral quickness, great acceleration, explosive with great body control. Also, very few offensive line to get hands on him because he's very fast. Able to run around the corner, versatile guy who plays outside linebacker last year. Weaknesses: size, isn't built like a run-stopping DN, easily double-team, not able to squeeze down right tackles in the run game. So as Ezra broke this one down for us, he's not able to be here today. Scheduling conflict between all of us, so just able the 2 of us here. Shay, Abdul Carter's the biggest guy. He's probably in terms of the draft, he's probably going to go anywhere between the top 4 or 5 picks, depending upon how many quarterbacks get taken and everything like that. What is your thoughts on Abdul Carter?
Yeah, I mean, he might be the best player in the draft. I think I would go Travis Hunter 1, and I'd go Carter at 2. And then I'd probably go Mason Graham number 3, personally, if I went like ranked guys. But that's this guy. I mean, you know what you're getting with this guy. He is going to be he's going to be a great pass rusher coming out. He's not that good in the run game, but you don't need him to be in the run game. This is a guy who, he probably won't be an every down guy. You'll probably put him on those 2nd and longs, 3rd and longs, where teams are throwing the ball. He's going to go get the quarterback no matter what. He is just better and quicker and stronger. Anything you want, he's better than the tackle. I mean, this is Micah Parsons coming out again. Basically, what you're getting with this guy. He is fast. He is athletic. He's strong. He is everything you want in a pass rusher. And I mean, this guy will be a stud pass rusher in the NFL for years to come. I mean, you have talks of Tennessee picking him number 1, or if he goes to Cleveland number 2, or, I mean, I don't know, the Giants at 3. But whoever gets this guy is getting a stud pass rusher no matter what. I think he's the clear best pass rusher in the draft by far.
I think so too. I think he's the best. I think he's the best player in the draft. I think he's better than Travis Hunter.
Again, a lot of people think he's the best.
I think he's the best player in the draft.
It's you could debate it all you want. Both of them, I think, are going to be good. But
like if I had to put Abdul Carter, if I've said this before, I think he's right around. He's a little bit worse than Trey Henderson right now.
Mm-hmm. I think the best thought is this: is what people think. It's like, would you rather take a chance at a really good corner that could also play a receiver, or he's kind of skinny but he's fast and he could be really good, or just take a pass rusher that you know is going to be good? You'll probably get 25 NFL teams tell you they're going to take the pass rusher because it's the safer pick, it's the smarter pick, because again, a lot less risk taking this guy, because even if he's not that good, he's still going to be he's going to be good. But even if he's not this generational guy, he's just a good one pass rusher. He will be a 3rd down player in the NFL for years. He will always be able to. There will be a spot on the field for this guy on any roster.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. I don't know who is next. Oh, back-to-back Ezra's players. Shay, you want to take a shot at that last name? Go right ahead.
We got Princely Umanmielen.
All right.
Probably about right.
Probably about right. Ezra did this player again. I don't know. 22 years of age.
Ole Miss guys. We got a lot of college link-ups in the first
round. A lot of SE. Yeah.
Like couple Ole Miss guys, couple Michigan guys.
I think it might be 2 Oregon guys. The other defense alignment, the other DN might be
guys. There's a few Ohio State guys that I don't know if either of them are on here, but there's 2
no, they're
Ohio
not.
State guys that are probably 2nd round picks.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a lot of I guess the best teams in the league, basically.
11 sacks, 16 hits, 28 tackles, 28 hurries, 31 tackles. I'm sorry. Some of his strengths: great speed, great acceleration within 5 yards, extremely good head fake with smart hesitation move, great spin as the secondary pass rush move. Has the ability to not only be an offensive tackle with speed, but also power that is very important as a defensive end. So there's a lot of guys here on this list that I think can't do both. So Princely able to do both is good. What else is growing painting in the NFL against offensive tackles with very fast feet? So that's probably against some of the better tackles in the league that definitely have really good balance and feet. Not great balance while working the corner. I understand that. Being able to fall down and Gotta bend that shoulder and get down and really able to work around the corner. Very weak in the run game and has been pinned out too many times, not setting an edge. So weak run defender, good pass rusher. Looks like here from Ezra. So maybe you could put on some weight, get a little bit more power to his game, become a little bit better run defender, and Princely might be a very good player.
Yeah, again, probably a guy who goes more in the back half of the first round, maybe push to the second round. I think he's probably one of the, if you had to rank him again, he's probably one of the more not as good guys in the. One of the more back guys in the pass rushers. Out of that.
I think I put him. You'll see.
Yeah,
you'll see where I put him.
I would guess again. He's not gonna. I probably wouldn't put him above Carter or Green or
Pierce. No,
Pierce. I don't forgetting some guys, but he's probably a back half guy. But again, another good edge rusher that any team who's willing to take him probably would be drafted by the Packers because we love taking defensive linemen, and that's usually how it goes. No, we would take a guy and projected to go in the third round, but. Again, whoever picks him, I mean, if it turns out to be like Danielle Hunter, you got yourself a good pass. You got yourself a good NFL.
Yeah, Ezra's player comp was Danielle Hunter, so that's a little interesting. I wish Ezra was here to explain the Danielle Hunter pick. All right, let's move on here. Mason Graham, Shay, why don't you talk to us about Mason Graham?
Big man, Mason Graham, 6'3", 320, 5 sacks, 9 hits, 20 hurries, 46 tackles. Again, this is a defensive tackle, not a defensive end. So strengths. So he's quick. He has a quick get off for his size. Again, he's 320, but he is fast off the ball. Plenty of strength to hold his ground, even when getting doubled or combo blocked. Even when he would get double teamed or guys try to stack him or anything, he did a great job of holding the line of scrimmage, which is a huge thing. You never want to get pushed back as a defensive lineman because it opens up running game holes for the running back. So he does a great job of holding the line of scrimmage. He has the upper body strength to control the block. Basically, if he gets engaged, he'll engage right back, and he can move the offensive lineman whichever direction he wants. He can collapse the pocket as a bull rusher. Again, passing downs, he's good again. He can rush the quarterback. He will pin his ears back, and he will run through the center or the guard and just go right for the quarterback. Causes the quarterback to have to roll out of the pocket or do something. And again, that's a guy anyone team would love to have. And he's an absolute monster in the run game. That's all I think. I didn't need to describe. I mean, there were so many things about him in the run. It's just absolute monster. This guy is. I mean, one website score out of 100, he got 100 on the run game. That's how good they say he's in the run game. And I think it's a reason that Michigan won. He was a big reason Michigan won the national championship last year. Big reason they were so good still this year in those lower scoring games and teams couldn't run the ball on them. So some of his weaknesses. Which there's not many. His arms appear to be a little small. He's got kind of.
That's interesting.
What? I don't mean in terms of muscle. I mean shorter length arms.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't have I was no, not that he's that his arms are a little bit shorter. Which
okay, I got you.
Guys with long arms to get extended.
Yes. I understand.
His arms can be a little on the shorter side. It's not much though. Can stand up out of his stance. Pad level not the greatest. Sometimes he had a tendency to kind of pop straight up, and he's strong enough where he could still hold the line, but it's not good to, you want to keep your pad level low because then you can control, if you stay low, you basically drive the offensive lineman back. So
correct.
Sometimes he popped up. And then as a pass rusher, he's still learning. I mean, one of his weaknesses is still learning to use his hands as a pass rusher. He's still a good pass rusher, but he kind of has one move, and it's just bull rush, and just run through the guy. Yeah. He's still kind of learning to be a little more versatile in the pass game. I did his player comparison. Like I told you, it was one of the things was Devontae Wyatt, but I liked Christian Wilkins more. Just an absolute big boy who can just clog up holes and get to the quarterback when he needs to with his size. I mean, again, the draft order goes what? It's the Titans, Browns, Giants, Jaguars are 4.
Patriots.
Oh, Patriots 4, Jaguars 5th. Vegas is 6th, right? Something like that.
Something like that.
Now, the one thing is, I know, Jacksonville needs a corner, but some of the corners have kind of fallen down the board a little bit, I know, for what they were. I think Will Johnson was, I don't know if he's still the number one guy, but he's fallen down the board, I think, a little bit.
Some of
So
them.
there's a good chance they might draft Mason Graham, or the Browns take him at 2. That's just how I think good this guy is. I mean, you're getting a D tackle for your franchise for this. I mean, it's going to go, I don't think he would go number 1 to Tennessee. That'd probably be Carter or
Cam Ward.
I would guess Carter or Cam Ward.
Or Travis Hunter.
Browns might go, Browns go Shador or Carter. But, I mean, once Carter goes off the board, and then maybe Hunter, this guy is the next guy. I mean, once the 2 quarterbacks go and once the 2 Carter and Hunter go, this is the next guy. He is number 5. He's the 5th player that will go off the board. So if it's Jacksonville at 5, Jacksonville will pick him at 5 probably. If it's Vegas at 6, Vegas will pick him at 6. This will be, he will go soon. He is, to me, probably the 3rd best defensive player in this draft. Probably the 3rd best player in this draft because I don't think the quarterbacks are that high. I think I'd put him number 3. I think PFF has him at number 4. I don't remember who they have ahead of him, though. It might be Cam Ward.
It might be Cam Ward.
But I think I'd put him number 3 or 4 again. But this guy is stud defensive lineman.
All right. I think he's the best defensive lineman, best interior defensive lineman in the class. Say no more. Let's move on here. Malik Williams, 6'5", 265, 5 hits, 5 sacks, and a light goes out. That stinks.
Is this the Bama kid or the Georgia kid?
This is the Georgia kid. This is from Georgia.
This kid's good. This is
5 sacks. Oh, really? You think he's good?
This kid? Yeah, I think so.
5 sacks, 6 hits, 15 hurries, 21 tackles. Good runner ready. You see the talent. Not sure if he's NFL ready. Has great speed as an edge rusher. Good tackler. Doesn't quit on plays. Very raw as an NFL first rounder. I don't think he's a first round pick.
Isn't he projected? What's he ranked on PFF? Isn't he like high? Isn't he?
He's like 16th, I think.
I was gonna say he's high. This kid.
I'll get to my rankings, but I'll show you. Doesn't have much power at all in the pass game. Can't work speed at all. Needs some strength at the NFL level. I think he's undersized. I think he's a really raw prospect, and you're just Todd McShay said this too. You're drafting on intangibles here, and you're hoping that this guy's going to be good. This is probably closer to like Tyreek Wilson or
Trayvon Walker. Maybe
Trayvon Walker, Tyree Wilson. Tyree Wilson's the kid they drafted number 4 to
I thought
the
Tyree
Raiders.
Wilson was going to be a stud. That's one of my biggest misses. I thought Tyree Wilson was going to be a stud.
So did the Raiders.
And yeah, if he didn't go to the Vegas, I was like, I thought he was like the best player in the draft. I'm like, he is a stud. Pick him, and then he turned out to be.
So I always am very skeptical on the guys that, especially on the guys that struggle. Not struggle to produce, but he struggled to produce like 15 hurries and 5 sacks. Like that those numbers just to me, like I watch film and I'm like, I don't think you're better than much other guys on this list.
Like, I wonder what his 40 is he really fast? Is he like
let's see.
I don't remember his
again, problem is all these
you have like Nolan Smith who came out with like 3 sacks, but he ran like a 4.3, so he was like
Draft Buzz usually has something. Draft Buzz does a really good job. 4.65.
Oh, so not too fast. Okay.
And they have 265 on here. 265. So, again, for me, I think he's really raw. I would draft him in the second round. I wouldn't draft him in the first round. I don't think he's a first round NFL pass rusher. Maybe like if he went to the Eagles and like sat for a year, or like Nolan Smith did. I think that's fine. You're also drafting a Georgia Bulldog.
That's what I was going to say. He went to Georgia. So that's your one, like, a lot of times you don't go wrong with picking Georgia guys. He went to Georgia. He's played against the best competition, coached right, so.
Yeah. So
will he be a stud? I don't know if he'll be a stud, but he could probably a guy that could be a solid pass rusher, or it could also be a bust. So
Malik Williams is not one of my favorite players I watched on this list, but I definitely think he could be an okay NFL player. You just got to give this guy time. I think if you draft him anywhere in the top 15, I think if you draft him any higher than the 3 we've talked about, I think you're really misevaluating guys.
Higher than Carter or Pierce or
Green. There's a lot of mock drafts that have him going number 2. Like he's the second edge rusher off the board after Carter.
I don't think I'd probably put him 4th behind those 3 guys.
Yeah. Now you'll see my rankings. And then Shamar Stewart is last guy. I did 6'6", 290. Has NFL speed. Great speed for his size at almost 300 pounds. Really good run defender. Does a great job of getting his hand extended to the run. Plays has power in the pass rushing game. Biggest problems is working speed. Doesn't get the best bend around the corner. Can't finish plays sometimes. Run and pass plays. Whether that's just he seems like on every pass play he gets there in 0.26 and the quarterback throws it at 0.25 and he just doesn't get there in time. He's seconds away. He has 33 hurries, 31 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 hits. Ark Armstead is his comp here, and I think Shamar is a good player. I think his game translates some of the best because he's so strong and like he can move offensive tackles like nobody's business. My worry is just the speed. When it comes to the end, I want to worry what his 40 time is, because he really does struggle in that performance. Ark Armstead was my player comp. I think he was somewhere close to there. Probably not the pass rusher Ark Armstead is, but definitely a pretty good run defender.
Is this the South Carolina kid?
No, this is the Texas A&M kid.
Oh, this is the other A&M kid. I was thinking South Carolina too has a bunch of players coming out in the draft.
So
this is the other kid beside the A&M kid belonging to the guy Nick.
Yes, along Nick. Yes.
Okay.
So this is the other kid. I
don't know too much about this kid actually. I really don't know.
I watched this film last night. I liked it. Actually, he played the Missouri offensive tackle. He played all right, but that.
I don't know who the Missouri offensive.
There's a first round of Missouri offensive tackle he went up against.
Texas tackle and
Banks,
LSU tackle Campbell is those are the two good guys.
So all right, let's get to my rankings here. Donovan Izarike was my player number 7 out of these guys we talked about. Like I said, there's a lot more of the guys we talked about that we didn't get to.
I'd probably have a couple guys higher than that we didn't rank.
Maybe, yeah.
I think I'd rank Jack Sawyer a bit higher.
Yeah, maybe.
I think I'd rank the guy Nick. I always forget his last name. I think I might rank him a little bit higher too. But I know out of what we ranked,
Out of what we ranked, I picked Donovan 7th. 6th, Malik Williams. I didn't think he was anything special. That was just my thing. Shay said he'd probably have him 4. I had him closer to 6. I don't think he's the NFL talent at the moment, and I think these guys. I think maybe he could be, but I think at the moment he is not a first-round guy.
I haven't done enough of a deep dive on these guys yet to know as much as you would. You've definitely watched more than I have to know what these guys are.
So again, these are just my evaluations. Number 5, Princely Umunuumle. I'm going to try to pronounce that as best as possible. Yes, Umunuumle. 4 was Shamar Stewart. I really like Shamar Stewart's game. I think if you take him in the top anywhere past 12, I think is fine to take Shamar. I think he's that good of a run defender, and he can maybe give you some upside later in years in the pass rushing game. Number 3, James Pierce Jr. I think he's a great player. Really, really long, lengthy. Just didn't like him a little more than I like the next guy, Mike Green. I like Mike Green a lot. I thought Mike Green was just. I fell in love with watching Mike Green's film, and I think a lot of people can attest to that. But again, he also played against weaker competition, all things considered. And Abdul Carter, obviously number 1. Shay, anything else on our edge rushers today? Slash interior defensive lineman.
So what do we have next week?
Next week is DBs and safeties. There's like 2 safeties we got to talk about, and then all of them rest of are DBs.
I'm trying to think of the other one.
It's Malachi, and then there's a Notre Dame kid.
Oh, okay.
I'll show you. And then everybody else is like closer to a 3rd round pick.
Got it. Usually that's how it goes. Safeties. I mean, even I saw mock drafts of Starks going at like 30.
Yes.
Like because
and they have the other kid going ahead of him.
Oh, really? That Notre Dame kid?
He's not very high. Safeties.
What about?
Hold on. Let me get rid of linebackers. There we go. Xavier Watts, Castro, okay. Kevin Watson.
Yeah, wow, that's really.
Yeah. So
wait, wow, go all the way down. That kid's that low? The guy Nick Emin Warrior. I'm pretty sure I thought he was a lot higher. Maybe he's kind of gone down because of.
No, that is the kid that went in the first round. Yeah, a couple mock drafts had him round 1. Yes.
Maybe he's. I mean, that's low. I mean, 90 is. And then what's the corner? Let's check out the corners because we do that too. Obviously, I think Will Johnson's number 1.
They have Travis Hunter number
Travis
1.
Hunter. Wow, they do have Jedi Barron that high.
Will Johnson, Trey Amos.
I mean, my dream Packer pick is Jedi Barron. He is, but The problem is, the more I've liked him, the more everybody else in the NFL has liked him, and he's probably going to get picked in like the top 10. It seems like.
Siobhan Reveal.
Benjamin Morris too. Okay.
She'll probably go up to here.
I don't know too much about Darian Porter.
I don't know any of these guys.
But I know Benjamin Morris.
So I haven't. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. That's right. I forgot about Kobe.
Kobe Bryant is coming out. I forgot about that too. So a lot of guys will talk about.
What's the ECU kid's name? That's the other. Scroll down a little bit.
Siobhan Reveal.
Interesting. Okay.
So interesting stuff here. Depending upon, we might not talk about Travis Hunter. We might save him for the receiver one because I don't know how many.
He's going in as a corner though. He's doing the combine as a. I think we should talk about him as a. I think we should do both. Let's just do both about the guy. Why not?
True.
But I think he's in as a receiver, so that's why he's.
Yeah, because there's not.
He's in as a corner, so he's going in as a corner.
Because we have a whole episode for receivers and we have a whole episode for running backs, which is actually surprising.
There's a lot of running backs. There is a lot.
I think that's why because there was one.
I mean, not like a lot, but like
a lot of mid guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of these guys.
Yeah, there's a couple guys actually. So. And
then quarterbacks, there's like
four.
Four.
There's four. We'll probably talk about. Maybe